Every thought is a seed, my friends. Every single one. You plant it, you water it, and sooner or later it grows. The question is, what are you planting? Are you cultivating a garden full of vibrant, fragrant flowers? Or are you letting weeds take over, unchecked and unnoticed? Pause for a moment and reflect on this. Your mind, your beautiful infinite mind, is a garden. Right now, as we speak, you're planting something with every thought that crosses it. What do you want to see bloom? Think about that. Let me ask you, how many times have you caught yourself planting the wrong seeds without even realizing it? The seeds of doubt. The seeds of doubt. The seeds of fear. The seeds of I'm not good enough, or it's too late for me. Those seeds, they don't grow into a lush, beautiful life. They grow into weeds that choke out the potential for the amazing flowers waiting to bloom within you. And here's the thing about weeds, they don't ask for permission, they just grow. They creep in, they take root, and before you know it, they're everywhere. But here's the good news, you are the gardener. You have the power to pull out those weeds and plant something better. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I was talking to a woman who felt trapped in her own life. She said to me, "Wayne, I've spent so much of my life telling myself I'm not creative, that I'm not smart enough, that I'll never be happy." I asked her a simple question: who told you? That she paused and said, "I don't even know," and that, my friends, is the root of the problem for so many of us. We're walking around living out beliefs that were planted in our subconscious by someone else, maybe even years ago. Think about this: how many of your thoughts are really yours? You see, when you were a child, your mind was wide open like fertile soil, ready to accept whatever seeds were planted. And maybe some of those seeds were good: the love, the encouragement, the hope. But maybe some of them weren't so great: the doubts, the fears, the criticism. Those seeds took root, and unless you've gone in there with intention, unless you've done some gardening, those old beliefs might still be running the show. Now, here's the powerful truth: you don't have to keep watering those old weeds. You can start planting new seeds right here, right now. Take a moment and imagine this with me. Close your eyes if you want to. Picture a garden. It's your garden. See the soil, rich and ready. You've got a handful of seeds. Each one is a thought. What do you want to plant? Do you want to plant seeds of abundance? Seeds of courage? Seeds of love and self-worth? You have that choice right now. Here's a little secret about seeds: they grow in the direction you feed them. Water them with your attention, nurture them with your beliefs, and they'll sprout. The more you focus on a thought, the stronger it becomes. Now, maybe you're thinking, "Wayne, this sounds great, but what do I do with all these weeds I've already got?" Well, here's the beauty of gardening: you don't have to leave the weeds in place. You can pull them out. Let's do this together. Think of one negative thought you've been holding on to, just one. Maybe it's the belief that you're not worthy of success, or that life is too hard, or that things never work out for you. Got it? Now imagine it as a weed in your garden. Feel its roots, how deeply it's been planted. But here's the thing: those roots aren't as strong as you think. You can grab hold of that weed, yank it out, and throw it away right now. See yourself doing it. Feel the space you've created. And in that space, plant something new, something beautiful. Here's a practical exercise you can take with you every morning. When you wake up, take a moment to choose your seeds. Ask yourself, what do I want to grow today? Write it down if you need to. Today, I plant seeds of joy. Today, I plant seeds of gratitude. Today, I plant seeds of confidence. And then as you go about your day, water those seeds. How? By feeding them your attention. If you find yourself slipping back into old patterns, watering the weeds, so to speak, pause. Catch yourself and remind yourself, I'm the gardener. I choose what grows here. Let me leave you with this thought: every flower you've ever admired, every garden that's taken your breath away, started as a tiny, simple seed, and so do you. The garden of your mind can be as beautiful as you dare to make it. But it all starts with one question: what will you plant today? Let's get this straight right from the beginning. Your subconscious isn't some elusive mystery hiding in the depths of your mind. No, it's far from that. Your subconscious is your greatest ally, your most loyal partner in this journey of life. Right now, it's working for you or maybe against you, but the incredible truth is, you get to guide it. What if I told you the most powerful force shaping your life isn't outside of you? It's not your circumstances, your upbringing, or even your conscious thoughts. The real power It's the 95% of your mind that's operating beneath the surface of the subconscious. Let that sink in for a moment. While you're here listening to me, your subconscious is busy taking in everything, processing it, and turning it into your reality. Here's the kicker, it doesn't question you. It obeys you, Dot. Your subconscious doesn't argue with you. It doesn't say, are you sure that's what you want? It simply takes what you feed it, your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, and it says, got it. I'll make that happen. Think about that for a second. If you tell it, I'm always unlucky, it says, understood. Let's make sure you find more situations to feel unlucky. If you say, I'm too old to start something new, your subconscious replies, got it. I'll make sure you feel stuck where you are. But if you flip the script and declare, I'm ready for abundance, it will shift gears and begin aligning your world to match that belief. Your subconscious doesn't judge. It creates Dot. Here's an image for you. Picture the subconscious as a fertile field. Whatever seeds you plant in that field will grow. It doesn't matter if you plant weeds or roses, your subconscious will nurture whatever you put in there. Now here's the critical question, what are you planting? Let me take you back to a story, a simple one, but one that makes this point so clear. I knew a man who spent years telling himself, I'm not good at relationships, I always mess things up over time. This belief became his reality. It wasn't because he wasn't capable of love or connection, but because he had programmed his subconscious to expect failure in that area of his life. He planted that seed, and his subconscious did its job, it made it grow. One day, he decided to do something radical. He started telling himself a new story. I am capable of creating beautiful, loving relationships. At first, it felt awkward, even false, but he kept at it. Over time, that new belief took root, and his subconscious got to work. Within a year, he had transformed not only his relationships, but also his sense of self-worth. Do you see the power in that? Your subconscious is always listening. Every word you say to yourself, every belief you hold, every feeling you indulge, it absorbs all of it. And it works tirelessly to align your outer world with your inner narrative. Here's a little truth bomb for you. Your subconscious doesn't understand good or bad. It only understands what you focus on. So if you spend your time dwelling on fear, worry, or resentment, that's what it amplifies. But if you choose to focus on joy, possibility, and growth, it amplifies that instead. Let's dive into the mechanics for a moment. Your subconscious mind operates like an autopilot system. It controls the habits, behaviors, and reactions that shape your daily life. It's why you can drive to work without thinking about every turn or tie your shoes without consciously guiding every motion. But here's where it gets interesting. It's also running the deeper programs, the beliefs you hold about yourself, your potential, and your place in the world. And guess what? Most of those programs were installed before you were even aware they existed. Think about this from the time you were born until around the age of 7, your subconscious mind was wide open. You were like a sponge, absorbing everything what people said about you, how they treated you, the stories you were told about the world. Those early experiences became the blueprint for your subconscious. But here's the great news, that blueprint isn't permanent. You can rewrite it. Let's do a quick experiment together. Close your eyes for a moment unless you're driving, and think of a belief you've held about yourself that hasn't served you. Maybe it's, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed, or I'm just not lucky like other people. Got it. Now imagine that belief as a movie playing on a screen in your mind. What would happen if you paused that movie, rewound it, and started playing a new one? A movie where you're confident, capable, and deserving of everything you want. How does that feel? Here's the secret, your subconscious can't tell the difference between the movie you're imagining and reality. It simply takes the images and emotions you feed it and starts aligning your life to match. This is why visualization is such a powerful tool. When you vividly imagine the life you want, when you see it, feel it, and believe it, you're planting seeds in your subconscious. And those seeds, they grow. Here's a practical tool you can use, affirmations. But I want you to use them differently than you've been taught. Don't just say the words, feel them. Instead of saying, I am successful, and feeling like you're lying to yourself, try this, I am on my way to greater success every day. Do you feel the difference? One feels forced, the other feels true. The subconscious loves truth wrapped in possibility dot. Let me ask you this, how many times have you let the old stories of your subconscious hold you back? And how many more days are you willing to let those stories dictate your life? Right now, as you listen, you have the opportunity to become the programmer of your own mind. You can step into the driver's seat and guide your subconscious with intention. I want you to carry this thought with you. Your subconscious is your partner, not your prison. It's always on your side, waiting for you to give it clear instructions. So what are you waiting for? Start telling it where to go. Start showing it what to grow. And remember this, the most powerful force in your life is already within you. It's not about finding it, it's about guiding it. Your past does not define you unless you let it. Think about that for a moment. Every experience, every mistake, every triumph, every heartache, it's all part of the story you've been telling yourself. But here's the game changer, you don't need to fight that story. You don't need to wrestle with it, resist it, or let it hold you hostage. You have the power to rewrite it. Your subconscious mind doesn't argue with you. It doesn't say, wait a minute. That's not true, it simply listens and accepts. It's like fertile soil, taking in whatever seeds you plant. So here's the big question, what are you telling it? Let's start with this. Imagine your past as a script, lines you've memorized, roles you've played, scenes you've replayed over and over again. I'm not good with money, I always mess things up, relationships just don't work out for me. Does any of this sound familiar? These are the scripts so many of us carry around, repeating them in our heads until they feel like undeniable truth. But here's the thing, they're not. And this isn't just positive thinking, this is the science of your subconscious. Every time you repeat a belief, whether it's empowering or limiting, you're engraving it deeper into your subconscious mind. You're making it your reality. Let me tell you about a man I once met. He was brilliant, creative, and full of ideas, but he had convinced himself that he was terrible at speaking in front of others. He told me, Wayne, I've never been good at it. I always freeze up. And do you know what happened every time he stood up to speak? Exactly what he believed. He froze. His subconscious had accepted that script as gospel. I said to him, what if you could rewrite that story? What if instead of I'm terrible at speaking, you started telling yourself, I'm becoming a confident speaker every day? He looked at me like I was crazy. But he tried it. Slowly, day by day, he started feeding his subconscious this new story. And guess what? He didn't just rewrite his script, he rewrote his life. Here's a truth that might surprise you, your past is not fixed. It's not this immovable monument you have to carry forever. It's fluid, it's malleable, and it's shaped by the meaning you give it. Let's try something right now. Think of a moment in your past that still feels heavy, something that brings up regret, pain, or shame. Got it. Now ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about this moment? Maybe it's I failed, I wasn't enough, that was the moment everything went wrong. But what if you could look at it differently? What if instead of I failed, the story became that was the moment I learned something I needed to grow? What if instead of I wasn't enough, it became that experience showed me what I'm truly capable of? You don't need to fight your past, you can reframe IT dot. Here's an example. Think about a photographer. They don't change the scene in front of them, they change the lens. They adjust the focus. The scene is still there, but suddenly it looks completely different. That's what you can do with your past. You can look at it through a new lens, and when you do, you'll find that it starts to lose its grip on you. And here's why this matters. Your subconscious is always listening. It doesn't care if what you're telling it is true or not. It takes it in, it believes it, and it acts on it. That's why it's so important to feed it stories that empower you, stories that empower you, stories that align with the person you want to become. Let me share something personal. Years ago, I struggled with feelings of inadequacy. I told myself I'm not as good as so-and-so, I'll never measure up, and guess what? My life reflected those beliefs. It wasn't until I started feeding my subconscious a new story, I am enough, just as I am, that everything began to shift. Your subconscious is like a garden dot. If you feed it weeds, it'll grow weeds. If you feed it flowers, it'll grow flowers. It's that simple. But here's the catch, you have to be consistent. You can't plant one flower and then forget about it. You have to nurture it, water it, and give it sunlight every single day. So how do you do that? Here's a little exercise. Every night before you go to sleep, take a moment to talk to your subconscious. Feed it the story you want it to believe. Say, I am worthy, I am capable, I am loved. Say it like you mean it, because the subconscious doesn't know the difference between a fact and a feeling. It just listens. And if you're thinking, Wayne, this sounds too simple to work, let me remind you of something simple doesn't mean easy. It takes discipline to rewrite your story. It takes courage to let go of the old script and embrace a new one. But it's worth it. I'll leave you with this thought: your past is not your prison. It's your platform. It's the soil where you can plant the seeds of your future. So stop fighting it, start rewriting it, and watch as your life transforms. What you whisper to yourself in silence becomes your reality. Think about that. Right now, as you sit here listening, there's a quiet voice within you. Maybe it's saying, I can do this, or maybe it's whispering something more doubtful, something that starts with, I'm not good enough, or what if I fail, whatever it's saying. It's powerful. It's shaping your next move, your next day, your next chapter. That inner dialogue of yours, it's not just a passing thought, it's a blueprint. So let me ask you this, what are you building? Every silent word you speak to yourself is like a stone in the foundation of your future. Whisper after whisper, you're constructing the house you'll live in tomorrow. Is that house sturdy, warm, inviting? Or is it fragile, cold, and full of cracks? Let me tell you something extraordinary. You are the architect of your reality. Now, here's a powerful truth. You might want to write this down. Your subconscious mind is always listening. It doesn't argue. It doesn't judge. It simply absorbs. And the words you speak to yourself in silence, they're its instructions. Take a moment to reflect on this. How many times a day do you tell yourself something negative without even realizing it? I'm so stupid, I'll never get it right. Why even try? Those words aren't harmless. They're seeds, they're whispers that grow into beliefs, and those beliefs shape your actions, your emotions, your outcomes. Here's a little secret most people don't realize. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a truth and a lie. If you tell it you're not capable, it believes you. But if you tell it you're unstoppable, guess what? It believes that too. Let me share a story. Years ago, I met a man who felt completely stuck in his career. Every day, he'd sit at his desk thinking, I'm not cut out for this. I'll never move up. I'm just not talented enough. He didn't realize it, but he was hypnotizing himself with those thoughts. Day after day, they became his reality. Then, one day I asked him, what if you started whispering something different to yourself? What if, instead of saying, I'm not good enough, you said, I am more than enough? He laughed and said, that's ridiculous. It wouldn't change anything, but I challenged him to try it. Just for a week. And something incredible happened. By the end of that week, he wasn't just saying it, he was starting to believe it. And as his belief shifted, so did his actions. He walked into meetings with confidence. He started volunteering for new projects, and within a few months, he got the promotion he'd been dreaming about for years. The whispers in his mind had changed, and so had his reality. Now, maybe you're thinking, that's great for him, but my situation is different. Let me tell you something, it's not. Your subconscious mind works the same way. It's like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant, positive or negative, it will grow. So let's do a little exercise together. Right now, I want you to close your eyes, unless you're driving, of course, and listen to your inner voice. What's it whispering to you? Is it kind, encouraging, or is it harsh, critical, full of doubt? If it's not something you'd say to a dear friend, it's time to rewrite the script. Because here's the truth, you're not at the mercy of your inner dialogue. You are the author of IT. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, looking yourself in the eyes and saying, I am strong. I am capable. I am enough. How does that feel? Maybe it feels strange at first. That's okay. New habits always do. But the more you say it, the more natural it becomes. And here's the magical part. As you start whispering these empowering truths to yourself, your subconscious will pick up on them. It will start believing them. And when your subconscious beliefs shift, so does everything else. Think of your mind like a thermostat. If you've set it to, I'm not good enough, it will keep your life at that temperature. But the moment you reset it to I am worthy, your whole environment starts to warm up. Let me give you another example. Have you ever noticed how Olympic athletes talk to themselves? They don't say I might win, or I'll try my best. They say I am a champion. I've already won. They're programming their subconscious for success. And guess what? You can do the same. Here's a practical tip you can start using today: affirmations. I know you've heard about them before, but let me tell you why they work. Affirmations are like whispers you choose intentionally. When you repeat them morning, noon, and night, you're planting seeds in your subconscious. Try this one every day in every way. I am getting better and better. Say it with feeling. Whisper it to yourself when you wake up. Say it when you're brushing your teeth. Repeat it before you fall asleep. Watch how it begins to shape your reality. Let me leave you with this thought: your inner dialogue is not just a reflection of who you are, it's a projection of who you're becoming. So my friend, the next time you catch yourself in a moment of silence, whisper something extraordinary. Tell yourself a story worth living. Because those whispers, they're shaping your tomorrow. Let's make them count. Your mind isn't stuck, it's waiting for your permission to move. Think about that. Right now, at this very moment, your mind is like a river filled with immense potential energy, ready to flow freely if only you'd let it. So let me ask you what's keeping it dammed up. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you want. Imagine this: your mind, your subconscious, is standing behind a locked gate. It's powerful, teeming with creativity, courage, and ideas that could change your life forever. But it's just standing there waiting. Not because it doesn't want to move, but because you've convinced yourself the gate is locked. Here's the twist: the gate isn't locked. It never was. You see, we grow up with all kinds of chains around our thoughts, beliefs handed to us by family, teachers, society. You can't do that, you're not good at this, people like us don't dream that big. And we accept these beliefs without question. They sink into our subconscious and they sit there quietly dictating what we think we're capable of. But let's get one thing crystal clear: your subconscious doesn't hold you back. You do. Your subconscious is just doing what you've told it to do, replaying the same old script over and over again, because that's the program you've installed. Now let's pause here for a second. Imagine you're listening to an old, scratchy record, same song, same tune, same worn-out lyrics. You've been playing this record for so long, you don't even realize there are other songs waiting to be played. But the truth is, you're the one holding the needle. You're the one who can change the record. So why don't we? Because somewhere along the line, we started to believe that our old beliefs, our old habits, are chains we can't break. But I'm here to tell you something radical. Those chains, they're illusions. They're made of nothing more than fear and repetition. Fear is the greatest jailer of the mind. Fear whispers, stay where you are. Don't try something new. It's safer here, but safe isn't where your greatness lives. Safe isn't where your potential blooms. Safe is the story your mind tells itself to keep from taking risks. Let me share a story with you. I once met a man who had spent decades working in a job he hated. He told me, "Wayne, I've always wanted to write a book, but I'm not a writer. That's just not who I am." And I asked him, "Who told you that? Who decided you're not a writer?" He stopped. He thought about it. And he said, "I guess I decided that years ago." And that's when I saw the light bulb go off for him. Because if he had decided it, he could undecide it. And so can you. Let's do an exercise together. Picture one of your limiting beliefs. Maybe it's the belief that you're not smart enough, or creative enough, or brave enough to do the thing you've always dreamed of doing. Got it? Now I want you to imagine that belief as a chain wrapped around your mind. Feel the weight of it. Feel how it holds you back. Now, here's the thing about chains: they don't fall off on their own. You have to break them. And breaking them starts with a single powerful realization: the chain isn't real, it's a thought that you, my friend, have the power to change. Right now, you have permission to rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. You have permission to say, "I am more than this belief. I am more than this limitation." Your mind is waiting for you to take the first step. Here's another truth: the subconscious doesn't care what you tell it, it just believes you. So why not tell it something better? Why not tell it, I am capable, I am creative, I am limitless? Let me ask you this, if you woke up tomorrow and suddenly all your old doubts and fears were gone, what would you do? Who would you be? Take a moment and really imagine that. See yourself stepping out of the chains, walking through that open gate, and stepping into the life you've always wanted. And here's the best part, you don't have to wait until tomorrow to start. You can start right now. The only thing keeping you stuck is the belief that you are Dot. Think of it like this, your mind is a compass, it points wherever you tell it to go. But if you're constantly pointing it toward fear, self-doubt, and limitation, that's the direction your life will move in. Shift the compass. Point it toward possibility. Here's a simple practice to help you reprogram your subconscious every night before you go to bed. Take 5 minutes to repeat a new belief to yourself. Say it out loud, write it down, feel it in your bones. I am worthy of success, I am fearless, I am capable of creating the life I desire. Do this consistently and watch what happens. Your subconscious will start to believe it, and once it believes it, your actions will follow. Because here's the thing about your subconscious, it's not your enemy, it's your greatest ally, but it's waiting for you to lead the way. So what are you waiting for? The gate is open. The chains are illusions. Your mind isn't stuck, it's waiting for your permission to move. Step forward and see where it takes you. Every single day, your subconscious is listening. It's sitting there, soaking up every word, every thought, every emotion you send its way. The question is, what are you telling it? Are you feeding it words of abundance, joy, and peace? Or are you unconsciously whispering doubts, fears, and limitations? Think about this for a moment. Here's a truth that can change your life. Your subconscious doesn't argue with you. It doesn't analyze or debate. It just takes in. Like the most obedient gardener, it nurtures whatever seeds you plant, whether they're seeds of possibility or weeds of limitation. So I ask you, what kind of garden are you creating with your words? Now let's dive a little deeper. Your subconscious mind is like a tape recorder that started running the moment you were born. And here's the kicker, it never stops. Every conversation you've had, every belief you've adopted, every story you've told yourself, it's all recorded there. And whether you realize it or not, it's playing back those tapes, shaping the way you see the world, and more importantly, the way you see yourself. Here's an example. Imagine waking up every day and saying to yourself, I'm so overwhelmed. Life is just too much. Your subconscious hears that and thinks, got it. Overwhelm it as it goes to work finding ways to reinforce that feeling, creating a loop that keeps you stuck. But what if just imagine you started saying, I am calm, I am capable. Everything is working out for me. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination, it just listens. And when it hears that, it thinks, got it. Calm and capable, coming right up. This is the magic of reprogramming your subconscious, Dot. Now let's get practical. Here's a little exercise. Right now, take a deep breath. Just one deep, intentional breath. Feel it fill your lungs, your body, your whole being. And as you exhale, imagine all the noise, all the negativity you've been holding on to, leaving with it. Now ask yourself this, if my subconscious is always listening, what do I want it to hear? Here's something you might not have realized. Most of us spend our days speaking the language of lack. We say things like, I'll never have enough money, I'm always tired, or things just don't go my way. And guess what? Your subconscious is taking notes. But what if you started speaking the language of abundance instead? What if instead of saying, I can't, you said, I'm learning? Instead of, I'm so unlucky, you said, good things are always finding me. Let me tell you about a man I once met. He was stuck in a cycle of negativity, always saying things like, I never catch a break and life is so hard one day. I asked him, what would happen if you started saying the opposite? Just as an experiment. He laughed, but he agreed to try. For 1 week, he replaced every negative statement with a positive one. And you know what happened? His world started to shift. Opportunities he hadn't seen before appeared. He felt lighter, freer, more in control. That's the power of what you're telling your subconscious. Your words are like a compass dot. They point your subconscious in a direction and your subconscious follows. So I ask you, where are your words taking you? Let's make this personal. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself standing in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes, not just at your face, but into your soul. Now, ask yourself, what have I been saying to you? Have you been kind, encouraging, or have you been critical, planting seeds of self-doubt? Here's the truth: you deserve better. You deserve to speak to yourself with the same love and encouragement you'd give your closest friend. So let's flip the script on. The next time you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, stop, breathe, and say instead, I am capable. I am strong. I am strong. I am figuring this out. The next time you think I'm not enough, replace it with, I am more than enough. I am worthy of every good thing. And don't just say it, feel it, say it with conviction, like you already believe it. Because here's a secret: even if you don't believe it yet, your subconscious will. Let me share another story with you. There was a woman who had struggled with self-worth her entire life. She started every day by looking in the mirror and saying, I am enough. I am loved. I am loved. I am worthy. At first she felt silly. It felt forced. But she kept at it day after day, week after week. And something incredible happened. Her subconscious started to believe it. Her energy shifted. She started attracting people and opportunities that reflected her new belief. That's the beauty of this process. When you speak the language of abundance, joy, and peace, you begin to create a life that matches those words. It all starts with what you're telling yourself, Dot. Now, here's the challenge. Pay attention. Over the next 24 hours, become hyper aware of your self-talk. Notice the words you're using, the thoughts you're repeating. And every time you catch yourself planting a weed, pull it out. Replace it with a flower. Because every day your subconscious is listening, and it's up to you to decide what it hears. And remember this: you are not the thoughts you've been telling yourself. You are so much more. You are infinite potential waiting to be realized. Speak to yourself like the limitless being you are and watch your world transform. Thanks for joining me today. If you found value in this discussion, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more motivational content. Share your thoughts in the comments below.